Do you know a guy in your? Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about this. There's. Do you know the guy in your subreddit called Destiny Vaush Forever?
Yeah.
There was a post a while ago, and he seems to think that like it was me or Dylan. He said are going to be the guys to get you and Vaush back together.
Interesting.
What would
Do you
that
still
look like?
talk to Vaush, or is he like excommunicadoed you too?
No, I was vibing in his chat the other day watching the Has Sunday debate.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
he's been chill. He was. Yeah, we were gonna. Yeah, we were maybe gonna talk about the genocide thing, but then it kind of just blew over. So yeah.
The genocide did?
The trans genocide thing. We were gonna talk about that, but it
No, I'm
blew
just
over.
kidding.
Yeah. Sorry. All right.
Um, how do you? Are you a
Okay.
Demon Mama ally, or what are you? Where are you at on that?
I fucking hate. No, well, I don't hate her. No, she hates me.
Okay.
No, yeah, not anymore. No, she was the one that started that. Well, like, because I had that debate with that random person about transgenocide. I didn't even upload it because I thought it was like a waste of time discussion. But Demon Mama caught it anyway, and then said I was doing genocide denial. And then I got a bit pissed, and then that's when Doe started DMing me, and then all hell broke loose. So
Gotcha.
yeah, we don't get on too well anymore.
Okay. Just curious.
But it's okay.
Are you
I
excited
don't
for
hate
the
people
release
like
of
Demon Mama. It's just
Oh, sure. I hate her. Just to be clear. Are you excited for the release of Max's article?
yeah. What is it? 150 pages.
So far. Well, that was like a week ago. Who knows what it's up to now?
Like, I won't read all of it on stream, but I'll probably read some of it.
Oh, well.
Do you have like a? I was meaning to ask you about like this Mrgirl Lav shit. I get when like I've kind of noticed that when people are doing shit like this to me, like lying about me and shit. I'll show you one example. Actually, I'll just DM it to you. I sometimes remind myself that you know how there are some people out there that, regardless of even if what they're saying about you is true, it wouldn't really have any effect on you because no one takes them seriously.
Yeah.
Good example was like that, you know, like Bo from the Fifth Column. He
Oh, no.
yeah, and they're like they like it looks like what he did was quite.
Yeah, where Mike. That could have been like, I think if that was
Yeah,
handled by a
Mike,
different
yeah.
person, that could have been career ending for Bo. But instead, it just
Yeah.
got completely laughed off because he botched it so bad. What a dumb fuck. Yeah. But
Yeah. But you don't seem to feel that way about like Lav and Mrgirl though, right? Like you were pretty fucking exasperated talking to Lav about all this stuff.
yeah, I mean, like, I think I've just kind of like gotten used to it, but like, if I think about it too much, it fucks with my head a little bit. I feel a little bit better that somebody made a post to Mrgirl subreddit asking how they'd feel, and a lot of people were like, I think I would genuinely kill myself, because it is pretty disgusting to have, like, I don't know how to like make people understand how weird it is that basically from now until when Max gets bored, every single new girl that I interact with is gonna get a DM from a creepy weirdo fucking guy saying that they're investigating me for sexual abuse allegations, and that's like a really kind of shitty thing to have to deal with. But I don't know. I mean, thank God, like, I've been on the internet long enough that hopefully my reputation kind of carries me through that. That, like, I interact with a lot of people, never had anybody accuse me of anything like that in the past. So, you know, if you believe it, that's on you. That's this guy. It's not, like, representative of me, but, you know.
So if it was all else equal, but they're not DMing people who might be close to you or people you've been intimate with, would you care as much? Or
No, I wouldn't give a fuck. The only thing I don't like is that it makes me look really bad to people who don't know otherwise. Because, like, imagine, because, like, even let's say, even if there was
bag in the
no
box.
truth
Have you
to
ever
it.
heard the term gentleman rapist? I read a forensic study ages ago that had 4 variations of types of rapists and how to identify them.
Sorry.
Where's it read?
I have no idea. Even if everything is false, like, and even if you know it's false, like, would you want to fuck with somebody who, like, as soon as you start messing with them, or I say mess with them, but like you hang out with them, like, you're getting weird DMs from people saying like, oh, we're investigating this guy for whatever. Like, it's just such a bad look, you know? Yeah.
does it make you feel grateful to all your former enemies who he messaged, but they just ignored him?
I mean,
Or is
if I
that
have
because
like
they had
some
selfish reasons?
minimum level of gratefulness that they wouldn't jump on board like false allegations against me, I guess. I don't know if I should be grateful for that, or I'm just like, thanks for having like the bare minimum of human decency. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've always said this to my audience that like there are a lot of people I mess around with sexually who fucking hate me now, but they've never ever even remotely come close to making any kind of accusation like that. So like I said, I feel like my history speaks for itself. But you know, what are you gonna do?
Are you like when you have conversations? Are you often worrying about what people who don't know anything about you might think
What
when they
kind
see
of
you for the first time?
conversations?
Like if you're like the rape thing, right? Like if you're having an argument about like fuck, I remember with the stealthing thing, right? Like when it was just like a couple of hours of debates on like basically those debates in themselves were all about the onus being on women, right? Like generally, because that was the topic.
Am I worried about like somebody seeing it and getting the wrong idea of like what I stand for? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Like I said, I just have to rely on my body of work. Like I think I've got like a long enough history that I can point to like, well, hey, look at this, this or this, and then I have to hope that that's good enough. But yeah, I mean that's kind of all I can do, right?
Yeah. That was definitely like one of the reasons I didn't want to go further with like the trans genocide debate, and why I didn't want to like talk to people like fucking like Sunday and shit, because the problem was like, yeah, what if someone does just see me for the first time and it's like, well, it doesn't matter, like I've done a whole bunch of like pro trans content, now I'm just being like, fuck you, you're being hyperbolic. And like, yeah, it just never looks good. But alas. Okay.
Yeah. I will say that, like, it's kind of I think they could mic themselves. Like, one of the saddest things, and I'm sure this quote's going to show up in the article, but, like, if I had actually abused somebody, I don't actually think it would matter at this point because they've destroyed their credibility so much, I'd probably just get away with it. Because, like even if they find something credible, like, are they gonna, like, let's say they had like the most credible thing in the world, I'm like, oh, well, I think that those legs are fake, like nobody's gonna believe them because of how much they've already lied about everything, you know? So like, even from an ethical point of view, Max has put himself like in an indefensible position. Like there's no excuse for him to be the one running the investigation because of how like much they've discredited themselves. But you know.
I never understood him to begin with. I don't know what the fuck happened there.
It was because they disagreed, I think, with opinions of his, and the narcissism took over, and that like disagreement is it's like you can't.
No. To me, it's like I don't understand why anyone saw anything in him ever. Like maybe I'm just biased, but like whenever I think of Mr. Because I tried watching a few of his conversations, and all I can hear in my head when I think of Mrgirl is like I don't hear any takes or any positions. I just hear, I feel, and that's all I can think of when I don't know. Did I just miss something like interesting about him that that other people saw but I didn't, or am I just like?
I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Philistine?
I think he had a really unique way of looking at things, but you know, it was just me. But
Unique.
no, I like some of his like shtick gets played out for sure. Like the staring at like saying something that's obviously provocative, like and then staring at the camera for 30 seconds waiting for a response from the person that's like being provoked, and it's like, okay, we got it. Like, let's go on.
Like I think it's all deliberate, right? Like when he's like the camera's pointing a little bit up at him,
of course.
His face is like right up there.
Yeah, and he's an artist, so he's thought about all these angles. Absolutely, like none of these are on accident. You know, yeah, for sure.
When he's talking to Lav, I think he makes sure that that she's looking up at the screen while he looks. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah,
I mean it's artistic and a fucking.
When I say he's an artist, what I mean is that like everything is deliberate. He's not doing this accidentally.
Yeah.
He's put a great deal of thought into all of these angles and everything, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that was a Vaush W that he just cut him off right away?
No, because Vaush cuts off everybody right away. Vaush is fucking boring. Vaush didn't cut him off because he was like worried about like some crazy shit going on. But Vaush cut him off because he's boring. Because Vaush is boring, okay?
Like, listen, don't worry about my opinion on that. When I don't know. When he was doing the thing about the fucking little girl strip clubs and shit like that, I was just kind of thinking, okay, are you getting something from this? Like talking like this? I don't know.
I mean, that was a funny joke. Listen, it was. Okay.
I don't know. Different senses of humor. Like I do sometimes have a soft spot for like nutcases because they're interesting, but like I don't know. He just never got through. Never got through to me.
Yeah.
My partner thinks he's like I don't know if this theory's ever gone around, but she said that a lot of what he does is like because he calls himself Mrgirl, right? That he's doing all the things that he would get away with if he was a girl, that he's doing like a huge meta misogyny thing. I haven't watched enough to know if there's any merit in that. Like, is there?
No, I don't think so. That'd be funny though, but I don't think so.
That would be very exhausting. That would take a lot of planning.
For sure. Faux show.
Anyway.
What are you doing next?
What's your next? I'm going away for 4 days to Spain, but then.
What are you doing in Spain?
Just visiting.
Okay.
Little romantic getaway nonsense. Soy. I think when I come back, I've been interested in this theme of like, do you know what? I think it's called, I might be wrong. I think it's called presentism. You know what that is?
No fucking clue. It sounds some lame shit about being present or something. I don't know. What?
I'm gonna reinvent the meaning anyway. It's like looking at history and like shoehorning current events into it. Like, I guess if you want to make a political point and you want people to agree with you, you just say that like, well, if only people had known this during the Weimar, we never would have had the Nazis.
Stop! Yeah. I'm already triggered. Yeah. Oh, dude, Vaush does this so much in every single debate. He's like Godwin's fucking rule that like in every debate he's gonna compare something to fucking Hitler or Nazis. This is just like the Nazis. Like, oh my god, please.
Yep. I
need to go study like World War One. There's got to be like good references to make for World War One, right? Nobody ever talks about the Great
World War One was cringe though, right? Like shit tanks, mud.
Yeah, it was boring. Not as many
Balkans,
like, cool death camps and everything. Countries we don't care about, but. I mean, still, it'd be cool to be like, oh, this is just like World War I, because people are like, oh, whoa, World War One comparison, you know, as opposed to like, this is, if only the Weimar Republic and the Enabling Act, and this is this. And it's like, okay, I got it. Hitler, we know, okay.
Yeah. So there are like a bunch of sort of like Weimar/Nazi like myths that get peddled online that I kind of want to just go through. So one is like the Weimar fallacy, which is this idea that Nazis were deplatformed to fuck. Loads of their newspapers were censored, and Hitler was banned from public speaking for 5 years. Like censorship doesn't work, therefore, like we should allow free speech, right? That's like one side, and then the other side of it is that actually they didn't deplatform hard enough or some shit. Sure. So I think both sides of that are kind of horseshit. So I'm probably going to cover that a little bit. And about like how like a society should approach like speech that's coming from groups like Nazis, because I think the gist is that like the problem with the Nazis wasn't so much that it wasn't like so much the speech as the fact that they were a fucking gang. They were running around beating the shit out of people all the time, and they tried to coup the government, and the Weimar courts were just like so conservative that they let them get away with it, right? Like
I mean, isn't that what all the extremists did? It feels like when the liberals kind of fail, like all the like the KPD and the fucking Nazi Party and everybody just kind of like run around and start killing liberals, and they're all kind of like, fuck the establishment.
But then there's this other side of it, which is like people will try to say that the left-wingers will try to say this. The Weimar Republic was like this ultra-progressive like haven, and they had so much freedom and so much like liberalism that it basically allowed the Nazis to exploit it and come into power. Yeah, which is also not true at all. Like the Weimar judicial system was like ultra fucking monarchist. They were all crying about the Kaiser and fucking Bismarck, and they wanted to go back to that, which is why like a really good example is when Hitler tried to coup the government in 1923 beer hall putsch. They gave him like a 5-year sentence, and he gets out in like 9 months. And by the standards of that time, he would have been executed. That's what should have happened. Or like if you're more liberal these days, you would say like at least like never allowed to run for office again, or fucking like life in jail. But the reading about the trial was so insane. Like it wasn't just that they were lenient with the sentence, it was also that like the judges just kind of like sat back and allowed him to bulldoze all the people who were like all the witnesses and all the people who were cross-examining him. They just let him like basically use his stand as a soapbox and just basically give speeches while he was on trial. And then at the end, I think there was a quote where they said something like, yeah, this was bad, but you did it with like patriotism in your heart or something like that. Like almost word for Okay. So so I think there's like, I might approach that a little bit and maybe show just like, because I think it's okay to draw parallels between now and the Weimar, but there's also a lot more differences.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many historical differences that make the time periods different that I don't know if it's always good to just do like these one-to-one comparisons. Like there's a lot of new stuff going on, especially with like the internet and everything. I do the same when we compare like for my red pill debates and shit, when people want to compare historically like women and their roles in society. It's like, okay, well we have birth control and women work now, so things are like so different. I don't know if you can draw these like exact comparisons basically.
Bro, that fucking Myron guy, I don't know what he's smoking, but when he's talking about like, I think it was when Pixie, when your friends were on, Pixie and fucking Straight right, when they were on, he was talking about like women want to be protected by men, and he used the example of like men hunting down tigers and fucking lions and shit like that. And I'm like, bro, like hunter gathering was like done by like hunting was done by mostly men, but like men and women, like they would follow a fucking herbivore around until it got tired and then just stab it.
Sure,
like I don't know where he got this like
yeah,
that was
nobody's
so
fighting
weird.
bears with their bare hands, right? It was like distance running
Yeah.
with spears and shit and tools. Yeah.
I would lose my shit. Like, is it them? Is that where that thing comes from? Where like someone will say some dumb shit and like there's someone in the back who says facts.
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 I think they're part of the community that does it. I don't think it came from them, but that community, yeah, is involved in that. Tomfoolery.
I would lose my shit. I wouldn't do too well in those environments if someone was talking about killing bears and then someone else says facts. Jesus.
Wow.
That's. Oh yeah, the other Weimar Republic thing I wanted to maybe do a thing about, which will make people very angry, was the idea of like there should have been more preemptive violence, right? Like against Nazis, and like how the idea that the Social Democrats and like gave way to fascism, like the liberals give way to fascism, whilst the communists are the only ones who are really putting up the fight. You probably heard that myth before.
Yeah, of course, always.
It's kind of hard to overstate just how much I fucking hate the KPD. They were so dog shit. Like, not just that, like, splitting the votes in the election that got Hindenburg in like 25, or like at one point even trying to help the Nazis get rid of the Prussian Landtag government, which was like most of the population of Germany. They tried to get rid of it because there was a social democrat there.
Yeah, and they were
kind of
allied against the SPD. Is that the name of the social?
Yeah, like so many examples of this, and how like their turnover rate near the early 30s was like more than, it was really, really high, which like meant that most members only lasted in the party for a few months. And one of the parties that they were quite likely to go to afterwards was to go to the fucking Nazis, because they were both anti-liberal, they both loved fighting. Yeah, they were anti-social democrat. Yeah, and their leaders were like, they weren't like, you know, Marxist theory heads or anything. They were just like, again, like they were just really
populists that hated the current
populist
establishment.
rhetoricians. Which is why Hitler, like at the beginning, would just like, that's why he liked the red for the slogan, right? Because it was a good way to get fucking like commies to come over, to come to the speeches. And and I think there was also like stealing a lot of slogans back and forth as well. There's a really bad quote from like a week after the Enabling Act, where the Central Committee Comintern is basically saying that the good news is, after the Enabling Act, is that people's faith in like the lie of social democracy is falling apart, and like it might be like a Nazi April, but it's going to be a fucking like a Russian or like a Soviet October.
Sure,
that's what they thought, right? And like, and I think they used the word acceleration as well in it. It's like the perfect like Reddit post. It was really So I'll probably that's my next plans. Sorry, it's a long answer.
Damn. Okay. Well, good luck on that. We'll be here when you try to set the discourse. You know. We'll follow it.
Yeah, there doesn't feel like there's that much discourse being set right now.
Well, I'll give some inflammatory take on something soon. Don't worry. I'll do my best to save it.
Is that like a very conscious thing?
No, not really. I usually just get mad and I say shit, and then people cover it, so.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Not very much Muslim discourse. I noticed a lot of people shied away from that, but, you know, what are you going to do?
I mean, the weird allegiance between like leftism and Islam is like, it's
leftism or progressivism?
Both.
Do socialists and all those people, are they like big like pro-Muslim dudes? Is that true?
I
feel like in Europe you guys are like way more. I feel like in Europe you guys are way more open with your like anti-Islamic shit. I feel like it's only in the U.S. where we're like very big on like loving like the religion of peace shit.
Yeah, like that. Like so, the more like center liberals or like right-leaning liberals are quite anti-Muslim in Europe. Yeah, but the left is like not really. I mean, as for socialists and shit like that, like the amount of fucking Hezbollah simps I've had to ban from my like I'll do it for a joke, right? But people are quite serious about that. You know, they think Hezbollah are like fucking freedom fighters and shit. And like I'll show them a quote, like fucking Nasrallah, like the leader, saying that the only good thing about Israel is that it's rounding all the Jews up into one place, so we can like get them easier. Like fucking hell, you know. But they're like, oh, but it's like, you know, think about what Israel does to them. And like, okay, I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of that. And I think also, I guess it was just a bit weird seeing, like a lot of those, like gay people being thrown off buildings or like the Muhammad thing is like what I would usually have seen a right winger saying to like a progressive Muslim, you know? It's usually what I expect, like Tommy Robinson screaming into the face of a moderate Muslim who's like gay, being like, they'll throw you off a building, mate. They'll throw you off a fucking building, mate.
Sure.
Like, and then just seeing it the other way around is really weird. I can imagine it's quite difficult for people to digest sometimes, but yeah. But again, like the difference between like conservative Islam and just like the average Muslim, especially in Europe or America, is like a very huge rift.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay. Well, I'll leave you to your video games. Okay.
Yeah. I'll have you stay safe. Be careful, buddy. Okay.
Hey, take care, son. Bye bye.
Have fun. Bye.